I'd like to call together the Judiciary Personnel and Licensing Committee meeting at 7:20 p.m. All members are present. We have one item on the agenda today to consider secondhand article dealer license for School Street Studios, 4050 North Oakland. And just before we jump into it, I didn't know if there was any other notice from staff or anything, or is it just, are we just what's in the memo?
What's in the memo?
Okay.
And the owner of the resale shop is here if you need to have her answer questions.
That was gonna be my second question. Is there anything you'd like to add or say anything to us? Happy to hear any comments you may have about the request or your business or anything. Okay, no problem. No need to say anything. I just want to make sure you're okay. And then to trustees, if we had any questions, Trustee Stokebrand, you said you had a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could tell us, what do you feel the majority of the merchandise you'll be selling will be?
Is this okay? Majority of the items sold will be women's clothing and accessories. Perhaps men's and maybe children, but for now, women's clothing and accessories.
Okay, thank you. And then for the clerk, if you could just spell your name and address where you live.
Oh yeah, Jackie, Jackie. Last name is Arcara, Arcara, and 6375 North Lake Drive, Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, 53217.
Chair Dorfer, any other questions?
I have no question.
I'm ready to entertain a motion. I think this it sounds like a great idea, so I have no concerns at this time. Yeah.
I move to approve the secondhand article dealer license applications for School Street Studios located at 4050 North Oakland Avenue, units 207 and 209, go before the full village board on Monday, February 17, 2025 for approval consideration.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And none opposed. Motion carries. Congratulations. One bit closer. Yep. That was the only item on the agenda. Any other questions or discussion or motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Meeting adjourned 7:22 p.m.
My apologies.
Thank you.
Dave, would you like to repeat everything you've just said?
I don't think that's
It's okay.
necessary.
Okay. Oh, man. There we go.
All right, thank you for that recap. As everyone can hear, this is exactly what we discussed at a previous meeting, and direction was given unanimously to move forward. So with that, I would open it up for questions, additional clarification. Trustee Stokebrand?
I believe that I was the dissenter last time. I don't think it was
Oh, it
unanimous,
was not
but
unanimous.
I am going to change my vote tonight. After thinking about it, I've decided the only part of it that bothered me the most was the 2 million for the Public Works facility, because I'm in favor of closing TID 4 and 5 before we do that and finish the streetlights. But I do want us to have the flexibility to have that 2 million if we need to buy land fast. I want us to be able to be nimble and be able to pivot if we need to. So I will be voting in favor of it tonight.
Thank you. That's great to hear. Is there a motion?
I move to approve resolution number 2025-01, resolution authorizing the issuance and establishing parameters for the sale of not to exceed 9,235,000 general obligation promissory notes, series 2025A.
Second.
All right, motion by trustee Lynn, seconded by trustee Kudo. This will be a roll. Oh, any further discussion? Hearing none, this will be a roll call vote. Trustee McGovern.
Aye.
Trustee Kudo.
Aye.
Trustee Ursink.
Aye.
President McKay. Aye. Trustee Arndorfer.
Aye.
Trustee Stokebrand.
Aye.
Trustee Lynn.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0. Thank you. Moving on to 4B, a related resolution 2025-02, declaring official intent to reimburse expenditures from proceeds of borrowing. So this comes to us, and can we have a recap of what this resolution accomplishes for us? And then I'll take questions.
Okay, I'll also address that. This resolution is called the Declaration of Official Intent, and it's required by federal government to issue tax exempt bonds. The village lead service line project was split into public and private, and the public side is going to be able to do a tax exempt financing to get a loan from the state of Wisconsin Safe Drinking Water Loan Program. So it's required by the federal government, and it's also required by the Safe Drinking Water Loan Program. It's a what if. It doesn't require you to issue bonds. It just says that if you are going to issue bonds, you pay for some cash before that, you can reimburse yourself with the tax exempt proceeds. You're probably wondering why such a requirement. My understanding is you go back to the 80s, there was a large city in Colorado that built a new city hall and paid cash for it. 4 years later, they had a budget crunch and they decided to issue some bonds to reimburse themselves for that cash. And the federal government didn't find the humor in that move. So that's the reason why that's in the federal tax laws, is that if you're going to do that, the federal government wants you to declare that intent up front.
Appreciated. Any questions or clarification? All right, with that, I would take a motion.
I move approval of resolution 2025-02, a resolution declaring official intent to reimburse expenditures from proceeds of borrowing.
Second.
Motion by trustee Ursink, seconded by trustee Lynn. Any discussion? Hearing none, this will also be a roll call vote.
Trustee Kudo,
Yes.
trustee McGovern,
Aye.
trustee Stokbrand,
Aye.
President McKay,
Aye.
trustee Arndorfer,
Aye.
trustee Ursink,
Yes.
trustee Lynn.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much for being here this evening.
Thank you.
And for your service. That concludes the special orders of business this evening. Moving on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion by trustee Ursink, seconded by trustee Stokbrand. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the consent agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There are no items removed from the consent agenda, so we will skip item 6. We have no public hearings this evening. So moving to item 8, citizens to be heard. This item is for matters not on the agenda. Are there any members of the public who would like to be heard on the Zoom platform this evening? Is there no one on? Okay. Moving on to new business, we have one item this evening. Consider test fit concept scope for the public works site. This comes to us from Community and Business Relations with a recommendation to approve. Trustee Kudo, as chair of the committee, can you give us a recap?
I'm going to have village manager. Gender.
Okay.
Happy to. The Community and Business Relations Committee had requested that a scope of work for quotes be developed to assess the what the public works site could be utilizing existing zoning with high density, medium density, and low density based upon our new zoning code. So those 3 are included in the scope, and then we added 2 additional. One is to assess what the density on that site could be if we included in whole or in part the main or what I would consider the administrative building for the public works facility. And then a 5th option, which is the developer, or pardon me, the architect's choice. So what that does is it allows somebody else to look at our zoning criteria to say, what would I do with this site? And if it's outside of the realms of that criteria, for them to show us what they would envision. This will not provide us with pretty designs for the site. It's really important for us to understand that going into the test fit on the site is really a desktop exercise of what mass, given your density, can fit on a particular site. It also should be noted that our commercial zoning code that was recently updated in 2023, my years seems like yesterday, really spoke to Capitol Drive and Oakland Avenue. So I would just want to acknowledge that our public works site is a bit of a unicorn because we don't have any other parcel that is this large. It's also a very unique size, and one whole, the entire western elevation faces and fronts on the Oak Leaf Trail and opens up into public parkland in Hubbard Park. So really a lot of wonderful amenities. So in the scope, you'll see that we call out for the architect and require them to take those items into consideration. Because if should something be on this site in the future that's not a public works facility, it would be our expectation that those significant pieces of our community be enhanced and provide, open them up in a way that they have been unable to be open before.
So, I mean, this was really, we passed this unanimous. Went to committee in January. This is an opportunity for learn, more about our own site, what can go there based on our rules and regulations and zoning. No pretty picture like that, but as opposed to being able, we could put 50 houses here. We could put 5 houses here. We could put condos here. We could put townhomes here. This gives us an idea using our own regulations, what actually could go there. And if we wanted to go a different direction, what we would need to sort of change in order to get there. So I hope it passes unanimously again this evening.
Trustee Stokbrand?
Just wondering, it says that the scope seeks a firm to provide test fit or conceptual options, estimated construction costs. What I would be interested in also, and perhaps this would go to our public works, would it include infrastructure costs? So let's say it's for a 10-story high rise and 30 townhomes. That to me is part of the math that I'd like to see. And so I'm guessing if the architect doesn't do that, our public works staff would probably be able to tell us what would it cost to do water, sewer, electrical, that kind of thing. If I'm looking, because I would like that to be part of my numbers equation.
So we are currently doing a site analysis with Strand, where they're going to be providing us with the details of what type of electrical capacity, sewer capacity, and things could align with the site. I could add a detail to that, but it would be rough estimate.
And I think that I'm looking for back of the envelope. I mean, we asked for that in August, August 5th of 2024, and it looks like we're waiting for We Energies, but could we get everything but We Energies? I guess, at a certain point here, it's going to be time to put some of the pieces together, and I wonder if Strand already has the work done and we could,
Well, if I may, I think this is really good to note of what the request is for information. I just want to bring us back to what's before us here is the RFP. So if I'm wondering, are you making a request to change the RFP in any way?
no.
Okay.
It's just additional information I would hope staff could.
Perfect. So that's noted, right? Excellent. Yes. Mm-hmm. Please do. You need to speak into the microphone, my friend.
I move to recommend approval of the test fit scope.
Second.
Motion by trustee Kudo, seconded by trustee Ursink. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That concludes new business for this evening. We're moving on to reports of village officials. I met with Manager Ewald and I met with our Assemblyman Darren Madison this past Friday, talking about the request that we submitted, requesting relief around lead service lateral replacement. Of course, he can't make any promises. The budget is going to go where the budget goes, but just telling us process-wise and timing of what to expect. But more importantly than that, we walked through the major policy decisions that we have coming up, and not only lead lateral replacement, but water mains, streetlight replacement, and most importantly, the public works facility and addressing those needs. And he was very interested and we said, because if we end up relocating into another municipality, that can bring in different levels and units of government, and it presents an opportunity to partner and look at services differently and in a once in a century time. And so as a state legislator, he was very interested in that. When I had met with Senator Drake probably a month ago, it was before the holidays, she also expressed a lot of interest in that. And it was nice to have two state legislators who understand what this could mean potentially for this area. So we talked about having a legislative briefing for elected officials to understand the potential of partnership around this forthcoming policy decision, so that we've spent 3 years or 20 years understanding this. And so if we want any kind of perspective from other potential, either government policy remedies or local partners, we need to start getting them up to speed with not knowing where this is going to land, but certainly the range of ideas that we're thinking about. Anything you want to add? All right, other reports of village officials. Yes, Trustee Stokbrand.
I attended the second Conservation Committee film, it was a great film. It was about single-use plastics, but it wasn't what you would think. It was not pointing the eye at the consumer. It was pointing the finger at the politicians who take money from special interests to keep producing plastic cheaply. So that was interesting. It was well attended. And for those that are interested, the public information meeting about Lake Drive is this Thursday at the Village Center from 5:30 to 7:30. Short program by WISDOT begins at 6 p.m. That's what they're saying.
Thank you. Mr. Chill?
The change.
Oh, let's not start with that.
Wow. The chill went off great over the weekend. We did not have, the ice did not cooperate. It was very close. But we just didn't feel like it was safe enough for the public to skate on. But we ended up just having a party anyways. And we had some local musicians, we had a food truck, and police chief came out, and it was just a really fantastic day. It was great it's always great to see the community come out, and I think whenever you decide to throw a party here in Shorewood, you're always going to see people come out and have fun regardless of what you're doing. So it was really cool, and it gave us some inspiration maybe in the future how to sort of construct a winter event, maybe not necessarily around the ice based on the conditions, the weather conditions, but maybe something a little bit different. And so we'll see where that goes. But it was a great, really well attended, a lot of fun. So thanks to the Public Works for dropping off the tables and helping with some other stuff as well.
Amazing. Thank you.
I would second that as well. I was there, my daughter, and she had a great time. I was so impressed by the crowd. There's so many people there.
Mhm.
Really nice event.
Yeah, I think you have an event, ice or no ice.
Yeah.
And the name of it doesn't give it away. So
Maybe just take the word chill. Island.
mhm.
It was chilly. I mean, it was cold. It was
I confess, we were cold.
yeah.
Fair.
Apropos.
All right. Any other reports? Moving on to village manager.
Trustee Stokbrand mentioned mine, which was just a reminder for the Lake Drive Public Information Meeting this Thursday night.
All right.
It's
We
about to adjourn.
have no future items for this evening. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Any objections? Hearing none, we are adjourned at 7:50 p.m.
Sorry, Jenny.